shamanettes, and welcome to the Beauty Shaman. So today we are talking about a very potentially divisive subject, exfoliation. There is so much information out there, and most of it is wrong. And we are going to find out what the truth is from the incomparable Ben Fuchs, who is a nutritionist, pharmacist, cosmetic chemist, and creator of Truth Treatments Skincare. Thank you so much for joining me, Ben.
Nice to see you. And you know, I'm all about the truth.
The truth. That's right.
I'm
That's
all
why I
about the
brought
truth.
that up, because you liked it.
I like the truth. And before you even get started, nice rainbow world map. Gotta say, love the rainbow world map, the tie-dye world map.
Isn't that awesome? This is my room.
Beautiful.
My housemate uses this for her background, and I just kind of
Gorgeous.
said, "Hey, it's now mine too."
Yes,
So
it's gorgeous.
it's
Gorgeous.
so
Gorgeous.
nice.
Yes,
Okay.
and you look remarkable. Just
Oh, do
radiant
it?
and
Oh,
glowing.
thank
I don't
you.
know. Just I mean, you always look good, but you look especially radiant today.
Well,
Tonight.
thank you. Maybe living in the US is good. I was living in Ecuador for a year and I moved back.
Heard.
So most of my audience knows that. And it's been a big adjustment. I came back from my father, who's in ill health, but it's been great. I've actually really been enjoying living in California. So
Good for you.
So speaking of housemates and people you're living with, so my housemate, I asked her about this question. You know, my housemate. I said, what about exfoliation? What do you think? And she goes, and I thought this was a really good point. She said her mother used to use a washcloth
Oh, okay.
to exfoliate. So she would wash her face with whatever she was using and she would scrub really hard. And that was her exfoliation. And so
Okay.
my housemate then decided, oh, that's how I'm going to exfoliate. And she said,
Okay.
does that work? And I thought, what a brilliant question.
Okay.
So let's go into, I think that's a good question. Does that work? And then also, what works? Like there's 100. I just wanted, before you start, I want to qualify. I know there are cleansers, because I think you can't really talk about exfoliation without hitting on cleansers a little bit, that contain those little round balls that help to exfoliate your skin. I think sometimes we over exfoliate with that. And that's another question kind of within the.
Got a whole bunch of questions there.
Overdone. I'm sorry. There's like 3 there, but can you speak to this?
Okay, so you have to remember it because I may forget, but they're all important. I don't want to.
They're all important. Yes.
I want to cover all of them. So if I forget, make sure we address them because they're important questions. So first of all, the most important way to understand the importance of exfoliation is etymologically. I'm a wordsmith. I love words. Etymology is the science of words, where words come from, how they're derived, how they make up. And I'm very fascinated with that because you can reveal a lot of meaning and there's a lot of potency in the derivation of words. So where does exfoliation come from? The word exfoliation, exfolia, right? Exfoliation, exfolia. Ex means to remove. Folia is the key word. What does folia mean? When you hear the word folia, what do you think of?
I think of foliage, which I don't think it's related. Oh, okay.
No, it's totally related.
Okay.
So folia, right, is just pretty self-evident. Folia. What is foliage? Leaves. To exfoliate is to remove leaves. Okay. Mm-hmm. So if you have a plant and you remove the leaves or you trim the leaves back, what's going to happen? The leaves are going to grow
better. Yeah.
Better. That's the key to understanding exfoliation. Now, we don't have leaves on our skin, but the version of leaves that the skin has are called cells, specifically dead cells on the surface. Dead cells on the surface are analogized with leaves. Exfoliation is the skin's version of trimming the leaves back on your plant. And just like your plant grows back nice and bushy when you trim it back, your skin grows back nice and bushy when you trim it back. And that's the key to understanding exfoliation. Just like your leaves get bushier and thicker and healthier when they get trimmed back, your skin gets bushier and thicker and healthier. But it's not, obviously it's not a bush, it's an organ, but the organ becomes more robust. It becomes stronger and healthier upon exfoliation. And it's built into evolution. See, the outside of the skin is a barrier to the world. And when it got cut, when we were foraging through the African savanna, through the brush to look for food, we would invariably get cuts and wounds. And so nature devised a system that became evolutionarily conserved. It became part of the evolutionary chain where cells, as soon as there was a cut, cells would rise up to the top to repair the cut, like a self-repairing tire. You ever hear of self-repairing tires? You get a cut in a hole in the tire and it repairs itself. And that's kind of a miracle. Well, the skin is a biological, organic, self-repairing system. And when a cut appears, it grows, the tissue grows back. But because the body is an anti-fragile system, I'll explain that here in a second. It's an anti-fragile system. It doesn't just grow back, it grows back better, stronger, healthier. You see, we have most people think of two kinds of systems, we'll say, two kinds of materials. You have fragile materials, obviously those break, like China, right? Or you have non-fragile systems like steel that doesn't break, right? Steel doesn't break, non-fragile, China breaks, it's fragile. But there's a third kind of system that people don't really talk about a lot called anti-fragile. An anti-fragile system is a system that is not fragile, doesn't break necessarily like a China, and it's not non-fragile like steel. Anti-fragility is the phenomena where a system breaks and then grows back better. An anti-fragile system is like the biological system. When you break a bone, the bone is stronger at the point of the break. When you exercise and tear up your muscles become stronger in response to the tearing. When you do crossword puzzles and study a new language and put stress on your brain, you get more neural connections. You get more synapses, you get more blood supply. The body responds to stress with growth. In fact, stress is a growth stimulus, which we all know because we're supposed to go to the gym. That's a classic example. The same thing happens on the skin. When the surface of the skin, the barrier of the skin, the dead cells on the surface of the skin, real quickly, I should probably say this, the skin is made up of 3 layers. The bottom layer, we're not going to talk about a lot. We'll talk about a little bit. It's the dermis. That's where most of your skin is. Top layer is the epidermis, and the tippy top is the stratum corneum. That's the dead cells. When we do exfoliation, we're removing some of the dead cells off of the skin surface. Not all of the dead cells, but some of them, enough to trigger a growth response. And when we say growth response, I'm talking about all across the board growth. We're talking about more cells, so a stronger barrier. We're talking about more cells, so a thicker epidermis. We're talking about more cell growth, so more natural moisture factors, so the stratum corneum becomes moist and hydrated. And we're talking about more fibroblast activity in the dermis, so we're talking about more hyaluronic acid, more collagen, more elastin. We're talking about more of everything in response to removal of the dead cells off of the surface. Okay, it's like exercise, just like you want to think about exactly like exercise. Now, to take your question, you can see why this is important.
Yes.
Now, I consider a second reason why exfoliation is important, and that is, number one, it's the growth, the turning on, or as we say in biochemistry, upregulation of everything. But even more important to me is now you have an opportunity to dose the skin with nutrients that will have a more readily accessible route to the lower levels. Because you've shaken things up, it'll be easier for active ingredients to penetrate. And so if you follow up your exfoliation with vitamin C or with fullerenes or with vitamin A or your nutrients, vitamin E and hyaluronic acid, whatever you're doing, you'll get better penetration. Most skincare products sit on the surface. Real raison d'etre of a skincare product is to get down below. This allows the active exfoliation allows the active ingredients more ready access to the lower levels of the skin. So number one, you upregulate everything. You turn everything on, like with exercise. And number two, you prepare the skin for the application or delivery of active ingredients secondarily. Okay? That's the theory of exfoliation that we call controlled wounding, and it leverages the anti-fragile nature of the biological system called the skin.
Right. And just to toss in there, because often I've recommended to women that they get peels or acid peels, or they use alpha hydroxy acids, which is a form of exfoliation. And I've had many women say, oh, like, no, I would never want to, I don't know. And then I have to go in and explain, no, this is actually a very good thing. So yeah. I'm glad you kind of went into some details on that. To
go back to your point here, exfoliation can happen just like when you go to the gym or when you work out. You can work out at home. You can do push-ups and curls and do your exercise at home, which is good. But if you want to get a real good workout, you go to a personal trainer at the gym.
Right.
And that personal trainer kicks your butt
and
tells you how much you can do. Hey, you're not doing that correctly. Hold your back up straighter, do more weight, one more extra rep. Come on, you can do it. That's what a personal trainer does. Well, an esthetician is a personal trainer for their client's skin. Sure, they can exfoliate at home, and we'll talk about how they do it here in a second, and that's good. You should exfoliate at home. But if you want to get a real leverage the real benefits of exfoliation, once a month, twice a month, whatever it is, periodically, go see your personal trainer. Go see your esthetician and get a more intense exfoliation or skin exercise treatment. You'll get even more exfoliation benefits. If you once a month or twice a month, go see your esthetician. So it's like a personal trainer versus working out at home. They're both important, but you want to once in a while see your personal trainer to get better results, maximize your results. And then the second thing you said that was important was this idea, oh, I can't do that. I can't do that. You know what I always think? I always think, well, you might as well tell me you're not going to the gym. I can't work out. Oh, that's going to tear my muscles. That's going to hurt my muscles. I'm not going to do that. And I'm going to park my car right next to Target. I don't want to walk all the way across the parking. That's going to hurt my legs. That's going to put stress on my legs. And when I'm in Target, I'm going to drive around in that little golf cart thing, because I don't want to walk all through the store because, oh, no, too much more on my leg. That's what I think of when somebody says they don't want to exfoliate. They might as well say they don't want to exercise. Right? It's the same idea. Okay. Right. Now, you also said a couple other things. You said, and I hope I remember all the questions you asked.
Go ahead.
You said that your roommate use a washcloth. Or use a washcloth. And along the same lines, you talked about the little scrubby beads.
Right.
Those are a form of exfoliation that we refer to as mechanical exfoliation. And they're good. Washcloth, loofah pad, men when they shave, microdermabrasion, you've seen, where they shoot little crystals, dermaplaning. These are mechanical ways of removing dead cells off of the surface. It has the same effect of turning everything on. And it's just like working out. When you work out, you tear up your muscles. In response, your muscles grow. Exfoliation, you exfoliate the surface, the dead cells off the surface, your skin grows, stronger barrier, stronger skin, et cetera, et cetera. But, Suzanne, and I know you know this because you work out, you're going to get a good, strong workout. You're going to get a good workout if you work out. That's true. But if you want to be really strong, you don't just work out. You work out until you feel the
burn.
Feel the burn. I know you felt the burn, Suzanne. I know you felt the burn. What is the burn? Why do you feel the burn? If you want to get a really good workout, you go that extra rep until your arm is on fire. You go that extra mile or that extra half mile, whatever it is, till your legs are burning, and you get a really good workout. Yeah, you'll get a workout if you just lift weights, but if you feel the burn, you get an even better workout. It turns out that burn is not fire. There's no fire going on in there. What is the burn? It's acid. It's a specific kind of acid called lactic acid, which is a member of a family of acids called the alpha hydroxy acid family. What lactic acid does is it drops the pH of the muscle. When the pH of the muscle is dropped, that sends an extra signal to the cell to grow. Acid, or a low drop in pH, is a growth stimulus. Lactic acid and acid in general, drops in pH, stimulate growth. In fact, they act like growth factors. So while exfoliation with washcloth is great, microderm, shaving, dermaplaning, little scrubby beads, loofah pad, there's lots of ways to do it. If you can figure out a way to get rid of those dead cells, just like with a microderm or other mechanical device, and at the same time drop the pH, make the skin more acidic, you get an extra incentive, an extra driver of growth. Yes, getting rid of the cells gives you a driver, it will drive growth. But if you drop the pH at the same time, you get even more growth, just like when you lift weights. You'll get bigger if you lift weights, but if you drop the pH, you feel the burn, you get even better workout. So let me ask you this. Would it be cool if I told you there was an ingredient that you could use on your skin that would get rid of dead cells, like with a loofah pad or a washcloth, and at the same time drop the pH to get that extra kick? Would you want that ingredient? Would that be a cool ingredient that you could?
That's a cool ingredient.
That's a cool ingredient. You better believe it's a cool ingredient, right? Let's see. Where do you suppose we could find an ingredient that will remove dead cells like microderm? Let me think. I know. How about the skin itself? Maybe in the skin there's an acid, something that will drop the pH that will also remove dead cells. Well, it turns out that this group of acids that is in your body, in your muscles, in your entire biochemistry, as well as in your skin, stored in your skin, if you could apply that directly to your skin, you will get exfoliation, removal of dead cells, and a drop in pH. And that's exactly what alpha hydroxy acids do. They all do them. They all do them a little differently. Glycolic acid is the most common. Lactic acid is a little bigger molecule. It's more native to the skin. There's mandelic acid, and there's tartaric acid and malic acid, and there's a citric acid. There's a whole bunch of these now, and they're all very similar, although to the connoisseur like yourself, they all have subtleties that allow, you can work them like colors on a palette, to get your results. A good esthetician understands how to do that, but for general purposes, they're all basically the same, and they'll drop the pH and exfoliate at the same time. So for your roommate, yes, a loofah pad's great, but if she can figure out how to drop the pH at the same time, using alpha hydroxy acids, boom, boom, you get a 1-2 punch. And that's why I love alpha hydroxy acids. And that's why they've become so popular for estheticians, to use in their salons or in their spas or in their procedures, because you get the drop in pH, and you can really drop the pH well in a clinical setting because you have control over it. You put cooling products on afterwards and calm the skin down, and then you also get the exfoliation. So you get here real quick, you get short-term benefits when you exfoliate because the skin becomes smooth and soft right away. Also, if you have pigment, dead cells, it's a great way to lighten and brighten the skin because it gets rid of old pigment. But then in the long run, you also get anti-aging benefits. A thicker dermis, you get more collagen, more hyaluronic acid, reversal of wrinkles and fine lines. You get a thicker, stronger epidermis, which is the barrier, the top, and then you get a better skin stratum corneum, which is the top barrier, which is really, really important and plays a role in the health of the skin, ultimately in the health of the epidermis and the dermis. So you get benefits across the board.
Can you over exfoliate?
Yes, well, that's great, because that was your second question.
Yeah.
So can you go to the gym too much?
Yes, absolutely.
Hell yes.
Yeah.
Of course. So yes. So the idea that over exfoliating should not scare anybody away from exfoliating any more than the idea of exercising should scare you away from the gym. So if you went to the gym 5 days in a row and you're all sore, do you say, I am never going to the gym again? You will never see me on that exercise bike for the rest of my life. I will never lift another weight because I got really sore when I lifted for 5 days in a row. That's obviously silly. You'll say, I'm going to back off. I'm going to take time off, because guess what, Suzanne? Your tissue, in terms of the gym, your muscles don't grow when you're lifting weights. They grow the next day when you're not lifting weights. That's called the rest period, or the refractory period. So understanding how to maximize the refractory period and maximize the stimulus period is very critical to taking advantage to get the maximum benefits from your exercise, skin exercise, exfoliation, or alpha hydroxy acid program. And that's where estheticians come in, or professionals. Skin professionals can look at somebody's skin and say, hey, you're exercising too much. Back off a little bit, take days off, and make sure you follow up your exercise regimen when you go to the gym. You come home and do your vitamins, your creatine, your whey protein, your minerals. You make sure you do your nutrients when you come home from the gym, and that will mitigate any kind of toxicity or stress or pain response, inflammatory response that you get from the gym by doing nutrients. It'll calm everything down, and also it'll sustain the growth. Likewise with the skin. When you're done with your exfoliation, with your alpha hydroxy acid exfoliation, put topical vitamin C, fat soluble vitamin C on. Make sure you're putting fullerenes and squalane and vitamin E, calming the skin, nutriating the skin, and you get the benefits of deeper penetration. You get to maximize the exercise benefits, and of course, you'll also be able to reduce any kind of negative or downside that you might have from overuse.
Right. But I think in order to have that brighter and complexion, the plumper skin, all those things that we're looking for, you do have to go ahead and damage it. And I think that's kind of the news flash for a lot of older women that are like, yeah, it's just kind of dull, but I don't want to go and do, I don't want to do acids. It's like, you have to, that's just a part of it. And I love that you tied in exfoliation and the acids, which I think, we get confused. We think, oh, if I just use this thing with tiny little balls, that's going to do it. So I love that you're
missing out on an opportunity to drop the pH. Yeah. You'll get strong if you lift weights, but why miss an opportunity? It's an opportunity to drop the pH. And that's why I always put my alpha hydroxy acids in cleansers and toners. Because that allows my clients to get the acid and then rinse it off.
So it doesn't sit on the skin.
Rather than staying on the skin. I like my acids to be in what we call rinse off products rather than leave on products. You can have an acid and it's in a leave on product. Either you're not going to get very much acid. They'll dumb it down because they don't want you to leave acid on your skin, or you'll create a problem because you're leaving the acid on the skin. So you want your acid product, your alpha hydroxy acids in cleansers and toners. That's the best place to find.
Wow, great. Thank you so much, Ben. This has been super informative. You've taken some of the mystery out of
I hope so.
my housemates' questions around exfoliation. So thank you so much. And ladies, if you have any questions, you can check Ben out. He's at truthtreatments.com, or you can also find his products on The Beauty Shaman. Thank you so much for watching today. And please write down below. Please write your questions. We always respond. Thanks for watching The Beauty Shaman.